Good morning, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in again today. Another really cold day here in the UK. We even had ice on the inside of the windows because for some reason in the bathroom here they left the windows single glazed. They didn't have their secondary glazing put in, unlike the rest of the house. And there was even ice on the inside of them yesterday. It was that cold. So anyway, we're going to talk about house prices. We're going to talk about what's really going on. I've done some research. It's not what you think. So let's get in the video. Let me explain. When you look into the actual statistics about the UK house prices, it's quite actually surprising what's actually going on as opposed to what you read in the news. So I'm going to quote here from The Guardian. I'm on their website right now. It says UK house prices fall at the fastest rate in 14 years. Underneath it says the average price of a property in November was £285,579, down 2.3% from £292,406. So it's gone from £292,000 to £285,000. I mean, that in real terms is absolutely tiny. And again, this is across the whole of the UK. So if you're going to read into statistics, it's a bit of a nonsense, really. So if we move on to other articles in the news, asking prices are falling with 23% of homes. So just 23% of homes for sale saw a reduction in their asking price. Again, is that relevant? Is it a real number? What does it actually mean? It doesn't really mean an awful lot. It says estate agency Knight Frank forecasts prices will drop by 5% in 2023. 5%. So, I mean, a £300,000 house was going to drop by £15,000. What if the house you're selling drops by £15,000, but the one you're buying drops by £15,000 or more? It doesn't matter. It's the sort of same thing. That then all this sort of growth in property, if you're buying another property that's grown in the same amount of value, it doesn't really mean a lot unless you're moving to a different part of the country, a cheaper part of the country, or you're buying maybe a house that needs a lot of refurbishment work doing to it, and it's predicted that you're going to go up a lot in value once you've done the works. It's probably still gone up in value by this similar percentage of the house that you've just sold, so it's sort of a little bit meaningless. I suspect that the reason why it's not affecting a lot of people at the moment is that a lot of people are in fixed rate mortgages. So if you have a fixed rate mortgage that's coming up to its end in a couple of years' time, you're probably not going to do anything. You're just going to sit there and wait and see what happens nearer the time. There's no point sort of second guessing the market in 6 months, 12 months or whatever. However, if you do have a fixed rate mortgage that's coming to an end in the short term, and it's going to increase from say 2% to 5%, 6%, then you'll need to do some maths and work out if you can afford the increase in your mortgage payments once your fixed rate comes to an end, or do you need to adjust in your outgoings? Maybe you need to sell an expensive car that you have and reduce your monthly car payments, or maybe you need to work hard to pay off a credit card early now, or maybe you have to cancel a gym membership and a Sky TV membership, or pay off your iPhone only. Those are the sorts of things you might have to think about doing if you're going to be faced with an increase in monthly outgoings due to the interest rate. So I think the house price thing at the moment is a little bit insignificant. Maybe next year and further down the line, again, we don't know where rates are going to be at that time. It's something that you'll have to sort of consider more. But this has been going on for a long time, whereby people will prey on others in desperate situations, and they'll offer them cash for houses at a reduced purchase price to try and entice that person to sell the property. So you might get someone who's got no money, they're getting divorced, or they really can't afford the increase in the mortgage payments, and they're desperate and they want to get out quick. They've got no cash buffer, got no savings. Maybe they need to get out quick, and cash buyers and investors will prey on those sorts of people, but they always have done. So it doesn't really matter where sort of house prices are going. Those people have always been around, and they'll probably be sitting there thinking, wow, this will be a good time to try and find some more desperate people to sell. But if you're not desperate, you're not in a fixed rate that's going to end, or you've maybe your rate's going up, but you've got the money to pay for it. You've worked hard not to have too many overheads. You've got savings in the bank. You don't have too much on personal finance, and you know where your outgoings are. So you just will say, well, okay, we're just going to have to pay it, and maybe we won't go on holiday next year, or we won't buy that car we were thinking about buying. We'll have to adjust what we do. So again, saying that house prices are going to be at an all-time low in 14 years, well, interest rates were at nothing and they've now gone to something. Since 2008, so in 14 years, interest rates have moved from nothing to 5 or 6%. But I'm surprised that they didn't move sooner, and maybe I need to do some sort of research on that as to why they were so low for so long. Was it to stimulate the economy, or was there something else going on in the background that we don't know about? What they don't tell you is that in 2021, house prices increased by 10.8%. That's a massive increase, and it was because we came out of COVID. We had a removal of stamp duty, so it went house prices just sort of went through the actual roof once COVID was lifted. Bearing in mind as well that in 2021 we were in lockdown still, so the country was still closed. So that's a massive thing to consider in terms of the fact that where house prices have gone. I spoke to an agent who said recently that they had more than enough properties to sell. They just probably had more buyers than what they needed for properties that they had to sell in the last few months. So you need to take all these sort of things into consideration. So I'd recommend you do your own research. I'd probably recommend that if you don't have to do anything now, I probably wouldn't do any research right now, because you're just going to get yourself into turmoil, second guessing and trying to predict on where the market's going to go and what's going to happen. Try not to worry about it. Tackle it when you need to tackle it. But if you need to make plans now and you need to reduce your overheads, or you need to get some savings together, then do it sooner rather than later, and have that difficult discussion now and have that plan with your partner or with your bank account. Do a dump of all of your bank statements of the last 3 months. See where all your outgoings are. See what you're spending your money on. It's like diets. People will say, well, I only eat 2,000 calories a day. Well, do you really? Have you actually written down exactly what you eat and counted the calories? Have you written down and counted up exactly how much you're spending each month on things like coffees, train fares, food, meals out, additional things like Netflix, iPhones, all the rest of it? Have that difficult conversation with yourself. Do it sooner rather than later. It's a lesson I've learned a lot from my past behaviours, and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be that person that I used to be. So hopefully you've taken something away from the video, and you're in a bit of a better position than you were before you watched it. So let me know in the comments if you've got any questions around what we just spoke about, or you want me to do that video about why interest rates are so low for so long and what was going on in the economy.